What's going on, everybody? Rob A here, and today we're taking a look at Mega Construx Call of Duty Urban Assault Copter. This set has 491 pieces and retails for right around 45 bucks. As you can see, it's a nicely kind of urban camo colored helicopter. I do apologize, it's time for another round of make fun of Rob's ignorance, but I don't know what exact type of helicopter this is. It just looks to be some sort of light assault helicopter, but I'm sure you guys know exactly down to the very last minute detail. So you do get 3 micro figures in this set. Pretty cool, all decked out in urban assault gear, of course pilot gear accordingly. You get a little ammo or loot crate, whatever you want to call this thing, whatever suits you best for. And you can see it's just a cool looking little copter. We can see on the back here some of the details, for those of you guys, sorry. You get a bunch of accessories, 26 to be exact, including 3 figure stands, which is really a nice touch. I'm glad they started adding those. You get some images of the set sort of in action in kind of a flight pose, and then utilizing the rear cargo doors, so you can load on the cargo, I guess you'd call it in that case. And of course, the figures kind of hanging out there in the cockpit and the rear area. The only kind of weird thing is, like, I do like the color scheme, except for the tail boom here, which is kind of a weird gold color. I don't know exactly what that's all about with that design choice. It might be directly from Call of Duty. Again, I am ignorant of that, but all in all, it looks like a pretty cool set. So I'm happy to have picked it up, and I'm excited to get building. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get that started, and I'll meet you guys back here when that's done. Alright guys, so here we have the Urban Assault Copter, and like we always do, we're going to take a look at the micro figures first. You get 3 in this set. So let's start with the pilot here. Very nicely done. Pilot, he's got a suppressed or silenced handgun here. They all come with figure stands, which is a really nice touch. And of course, if you're unfamiliar with Mega Construx micro action figures, they are super posable action figures on the line of like an old-fashioned G.I. Joe figure or something. They have nice universal joints at the shoulders and elbows. They've got wrist swivels. They've got waist swivels. They've got ball-jointed hips. They've got knee bends and ball-jointed heads as well. Now, this guy does have one of the new head pieces where, as you can see, he's got his little flight helmet on, but you can pull that off to reveal a very creepy head sculpt there. It would be nice to get like a hair piece or something to put on top of that whenever the helmet is not on. Just a nice addition, but not necessary, certainly. You can see he's got a little vest here with just some accoutrement on there, just some pouches and things like that. And another thing I noticed that is new to me is this whole bit here. His boots are actually a separate piece. Now you can't rotate him at the foot, but you can actually unpeg his foot just like that. And you can see there is a standard peg here, very similar to the one used to actually fit the arm into the shoulder. And you've got a little square bit there, and you can just peg that right on. So you do have the possibility that in the future they'll allow different boot designs onto the same legs and things like that. So I mean, you've got that if that's something you're after. So there is the pilot. Then you get this guy, who I don't know if he's new or not, but I mean, I know all of his accessories have existed in some form or another. And he's got this pretty cool gun with the crazy canister. So you got that going on. And the guns you could just take apart and reassemble to make pretty much any kind of weapon you like, which is pretty cool. You can take, sights off, you can take magazines or ammo canisters or whatever, what have you, off as well as the stock. And the barrels can all be changed out to make pretty much whatever you like. So we've got this guy here. And he just comes with, you know, a knife. He's got a backpack. Head sculpt is pretty cool here. He's got a bandana with sort of a skull face printed on it. As well as this little, I don't even know what to call this thing. But like a scarf sort of thing. I'm sure there is a proper name for it that I'm just forgetting, so I do apologize. I'm sure you guys can let me know in the comments. Hopefully you will do it politely. But you do get this guy as well. And last but not least, you've got this other soldier here with another gun put together in no particular order. And then you can see he's got kind of a, I don't know if this is like a flight mask or something. You guys will have to let me know. It's like a kind of a SWAT mask or some sort of similar doohickey mabob. He's got big old boots on. And just, you know, another vest with a like a flashbang or a gas grenade or something on there. So yeah, you know, really, really cool. The micro figures are always one of the best parts of all of these sets because they're just such cool little figures. And, you know, they're super posable, they're super playable, they're really nice to display with these sets, which is a huge bonus as well. And I think they are absolutely fantastic. So very, very cool. So that is the micro figure lineup for this set. Let's take a look at the helicopter itself. Alright guys, so here we have the Urban Assault Copter itself. And right off the bat, it's a really nice set. It's nice, solid. It's actually quite a bit larger than I was anticipating it would be, based, you know, just on the packaging and things like that. And I don't know why. I thought, you know, just with the images and things like that, I thought it was going to be a very simple build, very simple set overall. But they really do pack the pieces in here. This is 400 some odd pieces, and they do a pretty good job of getting this thing packed in. It's got the two struts on the side here with the missile pod, and you guys may be able to tell me a little bit better exactly what this is. I don't know if this is a like a fuel tank, or if it's just like a counterweight for the missile pod, or what. So you guys can hopefully tell me. I asked my my military expert friend. I asked him exactly what kind of helicopter this was. At first he said it looked like a Huey, but on further inspection he changed his mind and wasn't quite able to give me a solid answer. So I do apologize. I don't know precisely what make and model of helicopter this is, but I'm sure you guys know, and I'm just going to base it on whether or not it's a you know, a good building set for the money, basically. So we've already looked at the micro figures. So let's look at the helicopter itself. You can see underneath, I've got a nice smooth surface underneath there. You got a little bit of action right here. So if you need to attach something, you know, a light or a gun or whatever you want to do, you can attach that right there. Coming around here, you can see the tail boom is a strange gold color, which kind of continues on to the top of the helicopter and a little bit on the cockpit as well. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I don't know exactly how this is going to help in an urban camouflage scenario, but you know, I again am by no means an expert. You do get a nice little tail rotor here. It is encapsulated in this little housing that's made up of just a couple of parts that are obviously made for this specific purpose. And it's pretty nice, but I will say that it does tend to stop the tail rotor a little bit from turning. It does tend to catch just a little bit, but I don't know if that's, you know what, actually I can kind of see, and you may be able to kind of see as well, just on this top blade right here, there's just a tiny bit of plastic flash. So I could probably just go in there with, you know, a pair of fingernail clippers and nip that right off, and it'll probably spin like a champion, because it does most of the time spins pretty well until it hits that point, and then it does just stop, you know, like that. The main rotors, of course, can spin very nicely, and they are tilted slightly forward using some nice building techniques there. That's pretty cool. And of course, it does have the option in the back here of opening up for cargo, and it's got a little lever right here. You just pull, and then you can open this right up and pull out your cargo pod. And you can see the inside surface is nicely tiled. It's nice and flat. It's got a little stopper in the back, so it doesn't the crate doesn't go too far forward. But let's check this out really quickly before we get into the cockpit and all that sort of thing. So you do get a crate full of stuff. I did get an extra head in here as well. So you can kind of see it's just a little bit more clear than the visor on the pilot that I currently have. So I mean, you could use whatever you want. That's fine, but you do get an extra head, or at least I did, and a separate bag, so it was a little weird about that. But I also found that you can fit all of the little standing plates in here. The figure stands also fit in this crate pretty nicely, so that is a bonus. And then there's just a bunch of accessories in here, some gun attachment, flashlights, canteens, binoculars. You've got you've got a claymore mine, which is not a pair of binoculars. I know I totally did that in a previous video, one of my earlier videos. I just picked this up and I was like, oh, it's a pair of binoculars, and I totally didn't even think about the fact that it was in fact a claymore mine. So Pobity's nerfed. So anyway, yeah, that's a pretty cool feature. You can fit all your stuff in there. Hopefully I can actually get it shut once more. Otherwise it'll be rather embarrassing if I can't get it closed. Actually gotta get that head in there too. And it will shut. It's just got, yeah, there you go. So you can get all of that extra stuff in there, and it just slides right into the back, and then you just close up the back pieces, and they do clip closed with a peg and a hole system. So inside the cockpit itself, let's go ahead and open this up and take the pilot out with his extra gun here. And, oh, and he took the he took the stick with him apparently. All right, that's fine. There we go. So inside you can kind of see what's going on here a little bit here. Let me move this up. So you can see inside there is a control panel with nicely printed controls all the way around, and this does move up and down so you can get your pilot and co-pilot into the seats with more ease. And of course there are the control sticks here on each seat that are on ball joints. You can move them around however you like. Just be aware that the actual stock that the ball joint is on is thicker than the little gaps in the base that allow it to move around. So it does have rather limited maneuverability, especially when you've got a figure seated on the chair. It can really, kind of get in the way of being able to get this actually into his hand without, popping it out of the ball joint base, which is exactly what happened when I pulled the character out. But other than that, that's, a minor thing. And then you can, of course, pop that back on and have a nice looking helicopter there. And also in the back here, you've got some space for your micro figures to hide out, or just fly around, I guess. Let me get this guy back out here. Come on, buddy. So here you can kind of see it's a little dark, and I apologize for that, but it's confined space, and that leads to kind of the biggest problem I have with this set. But you can see a nice little stable, a little bar here, so they can hold on to it and either sit or stand, as the guy on the other side is doing here. So you can get your figures to stand in here. It's a little tight. They can't quite fit, so they have to kind of lean out the door, or the doorway, the gap here. There's another bar on this side so you can hold on to it. So that's pretty cool. And these, of course, do move back, so you can kind of access the interior a little bit more easily. But my biggest problem with this set is definitely this interior here, because it is so confined, and you can't actually lift this top portion off easily. Like, you'd have to take the whole thing apart. I would have really liked to have seen just, like a couple of pegs that this whole assembly can just sit on top of, so that you could pull it off and easily access the interior of the helicopter. I think it's really a detriment that you can't actually access this any other way but through these gaps, because these particular Call of Duty sets are made for, a little bit older, builders or collectors or whatever. So it does stand to reason that you're going to have larger hands and fingers trying to get these micro figures into positions in these places. So it can be rather difficult to actually get them in there without knocking everything out of place, without knocking these off, without, I had to take these pieces off to get these guys in, which is, kind of annoying because they're attached by this rubber piece here. So that is the biggest fault I can find in this set. And even that, it's not a huge deal. It's just really one of those things that I think was a definite oversight. But overall, I mean, it's a really nicely done set overall. I mean, for whatever reason, I just love buildable helicopters. I don't know what the deal is there, but I just think they're super cool. So I'm very, very pleased with this set overall. I like the cargo capabilities in the back. I think the cockpit is done nicely, and the micro figures are always awesome. So I'm very pleased with that. I do think it's a good deal. It's a nice, solidly built, very substantial set for the price point. So I'm definitely with it there. It's just a couple of things here and there, like the the control sticks and this just this gap here that I just feel could have done with another once over with the design process. But those are nitpicks more than anything else. So overall, it's a pretty solid set from Mega Construx Call of Duty. So that is going to do it for this review, guys. I want to thank you so very much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. It really does help me out. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more. I'll have more Mega Construx coming as soon as I am able. In the meantime, thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.